Good evening, dear Oak Grove community. I want to begin this time just by expressing my gratitude for several things. First of all, I am thankful that God has protected and preserved the mission and vision of Oak Grove, both through times of prosperity and in times like this, in times of adversity. I am so thankful to the Lord that we have the freedom and the opportunity now to pursue and to cultivate with our children this pursuit of God's truth, beauty, and goodness. I'm grateful for a board, admin team, directors, teachers, staff, students, and parents who all share and work together collectively in this pursuit of that which will last, this pursuit of wisdom and virtue to the glory of God alone. I am thankful for a community that has a shared vision of that which truly lasts, of that which is of most importance when all of these secondary and peripheral things are being burned away, so to speak. I'm thankful that in this time of much uncertainty, we have the greatest certainty. We have the certainty that God is with us, that He is for us, that He loves us, that He will never leave us, and that He is in control, fully in control, and He has a purpose in all that is happening right now in our society and in each of our lives personally, in our families. Admittedly, this is a refining season. This has been a refining season for all of us. Our conveniences, our expectations, our comforts, our routines, these have all been disrupted, in some cases, quite significantly. This is, as our coaches like to, they like to talk about the laboratory of the athletic field and how it tests our character, how it brings out our true nature. That's what adversity does. The laboratory is not just the athletic field, though. Right now, it is everywhere. It is each and every day. It is when we flip on the news. It is when we read that email. It's when we have that conversation. When we put on that mask or take that mask off, clean that surface, have that difficult conversation, grieve not having the same opportunities that we may have had this time last summer. But as you, parents and staff and teachers, as we all wrestle with this current moment in history, now is perhaps the best opportunity to teach and to learn and to put into practice what we say, to put into practice what we believe about who we are, about who God is, about what we are really and truly here for. And also conversations about what is our true hope, what is our true anchor in storms like these. Where do we go? What do we turn to? What do we put our confidence in? I'm reminded of David, who later became King David in the Bible. We see his story, and we see in his early life how even though he knew what God's purpose for him was, it was a long time getting there, and God's purpose wasn't just the end game of becoming king. It was actually to refine him and to help him to become this man after God's own heart. And David wrestled through many times of adversity and struggle. And fortunately, he journaled during that time. And by God's grace, what he journaled was captured in many of the Psalms. And I'm reminded in this time of Psalm 62. Specifically, I'm going to read verse 1 and 2, which says, where David writes, filled with God's Spirit, truly my soul finds rest in God. Excuse me. My salvation comes from him. Truly, he is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress. I will never be shaken. He wasn't writing this from the comforts of a palace, surrounded by armed guards and in wealth. He's probably writing this from a cave, on the run, where, for as far as his physical senses could see, he was in trouble and he had every reason to be shaken. But he wasn't, because he was certain. He had certainty in who God is and of what God had promised. So like David, let us hope in the Lord. Let us not waver in our faith. Let us not waver in our commitment to Scripture and in our confidence in who God is when times are hard. Let us show our children what it means to obey the Lord, to submit to His word, to submit to authority, even when we don't feel like it, even when there are competing and conflicting voices out there. Let us be steadfast, for God's will is always what is best and what is perfect, and will accomplish His good purposes, redemptive purposes in the end. The leadership of Oak Grove, including the board, the admin, and many others, have prayed, debated, discussed, researched, and done that many times, and always with a desire to honor the Lord and to seek His wisdom in leading this school through this challenging time. And so what you will see attached to this message is our policies moving forward to try to maintain safety and health for our students, to keep us in submission to the authorities that God has placed over us. Please read through this document thoroughly, thoughtfully, but most importantly, read through it humbly, out of a humble posture before God, pursuing with us together what is His will and how should we then live in a time like this. There will invariably be some policies that you will not like. And to be honest, there are policies that I personally don't like. But we resist making decisions based on personal preference, based on personal comforts, based on political parties, if you will, and many other factors. We have endeavored to make decisions based on ones that we believe will glorify God and demonstrate love for one another. And just in closing, I humbly ask that you will remain steadfast in your partnership with our school in this time. Remembering, as I shared at our State of the School event back in January, that the mission and the vision of Oak Grove can only continue with the steadfast, faithful commitment of families and parents and staff and everyone, teachers, all of us together right now. What we want to provide now for our children, we want it to be around in years to come for those who will come after them. For those families next year and the year after that have the same desire and vision for your children that you do, for their children that you do for yours. Nobody signed up for this because it was easy. This is not a time to jump ship. It's a time to stand firm, committed around what God has called us to do in discipling our children for His glory alone. Oak Grove community, press on, and may Christ be glorified. Thank you.